let's dive into this. In traditional military life, soldiers fight for a flag, right? They fight for national glory, for patriotism, for the people back home. But in this new life, as a corporate soldier in a shadow army, you're fighting for a quarterly earnings report. When the bullets actually start flying out in the field, the only thing that matters is the contractual fine print. We're looking at a completely different paradigm here, one where violence is monetized, sanitized, and structured exactly like any other massive global corporation.
So here's our level map for today. We're going to climb this dark corporate ladder together. We'll start at level 1 as a static guard, move up to level 3, tactical, pivot to level 5, logistics, ascend to level 8, regional, and finally hit level 12, shadow executive. You're going to see exactly how violence becomes totally abstract the higher up you climb. All right, level 1. Static guard. Picture yourself at a remote lithium mine, or maybe a rusting deep-sea oil rig. You're spending 16 hours a day just staring out at a chain-link fence line, waiting and wondering if local rebels are going to test the perimeter tonight. You realize pretty quickly that you aren't a traditional soldier anymore. You're a literal contractual clause known as force protection. Honestly, you've been reduced to a corporate insurance policy with a heartbeat. Sure, the pay is fantastic, usually 3 times what you'd make in the regular infantry. But then you start to see this terrifying truth. If you disappear out here in the dust, there's no official search party coming for you. As a unit of force protection, your company's liability ends exactly at the edge of the property line. Moving up to level 3, tactical contractor. So, you've been moved off that static fence line. Now you're actively escorting unmanifested cargo straight through volatile territories, places the UN won't even fly over. Welcome to the gray zone. Now, what's really interesting here is that to survive, you kind of have to completely stop seeing people as human beings. It's wild, but everything and everyone in this operational area is viewed strictly as a risk variable, or as merchandise that could impact the client's quarterly earnings. It's a total, absolutely necessary psychological shift to do the job. The daily operations at this level become completely absurd. For instance, your paperwork might say you're transporting agricultural equipment, but you're actually hauling a shipment of surface-to-air missiles. Or a VIP passenger that needs a high-level escort? Yeah, that's really just a suitcase packed to the brim with untraceable currency. Your deliveries are entirely masked. It proves the absolute first rule of this trade. Everything, without exception, is merchandise. Let's jump to level 5, logistics specialist. This is middle management. This is where you put down the rifle and trade the mud and the physical danger for a perfectly sanitized office ledger, probably in some massive skyscraper in Dubai or Singapore. You've become a ghost in the machine, controlling the entire supply chain. You're managing operational legends and complex shell routes to hide movement. You learn exactly how to bribe port officials to look the other way for just a critical 15-minute window. You use dummy import-export fronts to wash the proverbial blood off the contracts, and you are literally moving private paramilitary teams around the globe like they're Amazon packages. You're starting to realize that true power isn't about pulling the trigger at all. It's controlling the supply chain that provides the bullets. Now we hit level 8, regional director. Okay, you are now fully elevated to the executive suite. You're sitting in a quiet, wood-paneled room with a local strongman, literally deciding which local rebellions get ruthlessly crushed and which environmental activists suddenly have unfortunate accidents. You're selling a regime stabilization package. This is a highly negotiated, multi-million-dollar corporate service that actively manages whole governments to eliminate any obstacles for lucrative global mining projects. Just think about that for a second. You wield more geopolitical power than most official military generals. But here's the catch. You can never go home. Why? Because your home country doesn't even have an active file on you anymore. You have entirely outgrown traditional national sovereignty. Which brings us to a really stark number, 4%. This single digit introduces us to the cold, calculating heart of what our sources call the dark math. So, the crucial point is this disturbing calculation. How many lives is a 4% stock bump actually worth? As a regional director, you are quite literally weighing human lives directly against a corporate client's stock price bump in real time. It is a profoundly disturbing yet entirely normalized reality of this shadow military industry.
Finally, level 12, shadow executive. Consider this the final boss level of the machine. You are no longer a warrior, a manager, or even a regional fixer. You have become the invisible architecture of global power itself. And the sheer scale here, it's absolutely staggering. You are seamlessly moving billions of dollars in capital through a tangled web of 2,000 shell companies operating across 47 different global jurisdictions. You fully legitimized this shadow empire by taking raw war profits and laundering them into perfectly respectable cultural investments and massive private equity funds. You are totally hiding in plain sight.
But as you'll see, all of this builds into the ultimate gilded cage. It's a trap. Step 1, you attain the mansions, the yachts, that seemingly untouchable status. Step 2, you reach 45 years old, but because of what you know, you realize you trust absolutely no one. Step 3, your deep, intimate knowledge of the network eventually makes you a massive liability to the machine itself. And step 4, the inevitable conclusion. You are quietly replaced and entirely erased from the record. You have absolutely everything, but the very moment you become a risk, the system you build will delete you to protect itself.
It leads to this chilling realization from our source material. Quote, "You are just a footnote in a history book that will never be written." Honestly, no matter how high you climb or how much power you wield, the cycle of the machine just continues churning, completely indifferent to your existence. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question. What is your walkaway number? If you were handed that duffel bag and that 3-language contract on the pier today, at what exact price tag do your morals give way to the dark math? It's a fascinating and definitely uncomfortable thought to ponder. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack these hidden architectures of power. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see